Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. This is episode 24. We're going to get into the Seahawks game just a bit. We've got a film review on a particular play and concept that the Bengals use on defense and use on offense and have been exploited on defense lately. So we'll go over that. What are the tricks to it? What are the keys to it? And have a little bit of fun. But man, I know you guys seen what First Star put up for this week's giveaway. If you haven't, I'm sure Dave Burke, my producer, is putting it in there right now. But it's the Blitz arcade. I mean, like, if you're my age, if you're in your 30s, Blitz arcade is where it was at. The Blitz game was, I mean, that was, especially if it's Jeff Blake, Carl Pickens, Darnay Scott. You remember that? Bombs away all day long. But they got a custom First Star Bengals wrapped arcade they're giving away, and if you don't win that and bring it to the tailgate and let people, I mean, that would be a hit. First of all, someone should do that. Someone should put some arcades together and just roll up to tailgates and make some money. Actually, I'm giving you free ideas here. But let's dive into today's show. We're going to get into the Seahawks game. We got some film, but let's dive into the news of the week. After big and somewhat breakout performances in Arizona, Jamar Chase is the offensive player of the week. And Joe Burrow is the FedEx Air player of the week. Both guys very deserving of that award. These are awards that they used to get when everything was running really hot and looking good on offense. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come. And hopefully other good signs of things to come is Joe Burrow moving so well at practice. Fox 19 Jeremy Rao captured this clip from Wednesday's practice. Burrow moving a lot better than he was before. And in fact, he said that at his press conference, claiming he's close to 100%.
Tough to say percentage-wise, but we're pretty close. It was a different spot the second time, so it wasn't quite as intense. But like I said, right now I'm feeling really good. Just got to keep it that way.
And at the end there of that clip, talking about how the second injury, the final play against the Ravens, was in a different spot in the calf, which explains why he has recovered as quick as he has. The treatment may have been different, and it looks like he is getting close to 100%. It's hard to put an actual percentage on something. You know when you feel right after an injury, and it looks like his confidence has regained in that foot, and that can make the big difference. You know, it also can make a big difference wearing Jordan 1 cleats. These things are sick, and Burrow wore those during practice in that clip a second ago, but also in the Arizona Cardinals game. But don't ask him about them. He doesn't want to answer any questions. If you look at that picture posted by Jay Morrison and read his article, it's really good. He put black electrical tape over the Air Jordan logo. Not allowed to wear those? I don't know. But hey, if you're a custom shoe guy, I bet you could paint over those and maybe hide them a little bit better for Burrow so he can be comfortable on game days. Opportunity for you. Reach out, find a way. I don't know, figure it out. Joe Mixon is very close to capturing that third spot in the Bengals all-time rushing list, which, I mean, at that point, that's a really, really good career. Ring of honor, potentially, at the end here. We'll see how it finishes off. But noted by Joe Burrow that Joe Mixon's pass protection has drastically improved. And the Bengals are asking him to pass protect much more than normal. Already 25 attempts in pass pro this year. He's given up one pressure, according to PFF, which is fantastic. And if he continues at this pace, he's going to pass block at, let's say, 85 times this year. That's the current rate, the current pace. That would be more than he ever has in a single regular season in his career. And at this pace, that would be 3 pressures. We would take that for sure. So that gets Mixon on the field more, gets him on the field more for third downs, passing offense, 2-minute offense. This is what you've always wanted out of this guy. They need to get a little bit more passing game production out of him, more like they did last year. And I think most people would be happy with how he's performed so far this year. And speaking of current paces from Rebecca Tobeck, With 300 passing yards and 3 TDs on Sunday, Joe Burrow would surpass Andrew Luck for the 4th most such games by a player in the first 4 NFL seasons. That may be lofty goals. We'd like to see 300 yards and 3 TDs, but Jamar Chase, with 2,977 receiving yards in 34 career games, with 23 reception yards on Sunday, he will become the 5th player in NFL history to reach 3,000 career receiving yards in 35 or fewer games. Now, that's a pace that I think we should expect Jamar Chase to hit 23 yards this week. Very impressive for the young player, the young number 1 receiver for the Bengals. And now that we're all caught up for the Bengals news of the week, let's dive into the film. I've got something specific to watch. It was brought up on Twitter by Malik Wright, who was diagramming these plays on Twitter, showing the slot fade and how often it's beaten the Bengals this year, which sparked a whole discussion. And I took it from there and cut the clips and cut the plays. And let's see how it has affected the Bengals defense and how they've used it themselves in past years. And Malik's giving away 2 tickets to the Bills-Bengals game. You probably want to get out on that. So make sure you hit up his Twitter page and go see what he's got going on there. So one of the big plays from last week's win versus the Arizona Cardinals was the slot fade for the touchdown. And it brought up a lot of questions. Number 1, why was Jalen Davis out there? But number 2, how did he end up on their fastest, best receiver, Hollywood Brown? Well, this is a play that the Bengals will run a lot on defense, number 1. But number 2, it's a play that offenses seem to be attacking Lou Anarumo's defense with when they get down into this 25 and in going into the end zone. So let's take a look here and watch the play, and I'll bring it back and we'll go over what happened, why it happened, and if we should look out for this becoming, I wouldn't say a trend because it already is. Is this something that the Bengals will adjust on and want to make a switch on their defense maybe? So what are we looking at? First of all, we have Jalen Davis down here versus Hollywood Brown. And he's the number 2 in the slot here because they have a tight end and then a bigger wide receiver out here. I believe that was Wilson, the rookie. And what they're going to run out of it is a slot fade. And the slot fade is perfect against middle field closed single safety defenses. So when we have a single high free safety, and the Bengals are bringing everyone up to the line of scrimmage, and you'll see this is a very common thing in the plays I'm going to show you in this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Bengals look like they're sending a blitz here, and it looks like man coverage across the board. You would say 1 here, coverage, right there, and right there. And if it's middle of the field closed and man coverage across, so we got man free, this slot fade is a great check at the line of scrimmage to say, hey, we've got this one-on-one, Hollywood Brown versus Jalen Davis. Jalen Davis, who is a fine backup player and actually a good player that the Bengals like, but speed-wise, complete mismatch. So if you get this, go ahead and take advantage of this slot fade. And these other routes on this side here are just going to hook up typically. I think you're going to have something like this on the side. Normally on the backside, you're going to have something to beat a cover 2 just in case this guy wants to slide over, the safety wants to run over to here, and maybe you drop this guy to the other safety spot and it ends up being middle of field open. You would like to have 2 other options if possible. But they don't get that here. They get what they get pre-snap, post-snap. And with this guy hooking up here, you leave yourself a wide open area to run this slot fade. And you're running it away from the safety. Because if the safety can get over, if he's got great range, if he doesn't hesitate and just like jets over right to it, you still want to give yourself an opportunity to beat him to the front corner of the end zone if you can possibly. So let's watch Jalen Davis versus Hollywood Brown. You see the way he stems him up the field, I should say, stems him up the field. You're going to watch this and say, okay, if you're the safety and you just want to peek and see, is anyone running deep? Is there anyone I have to worry about? The way Hollywood comes up this way, it would make you believe he's maybe running a dig route right? Maybe he's running a slant off of this, giving that inside release that way, getting Jalen Davis to open up his hips this way. All good until he flips it and runs towards the sideline from there. Knocks away that outside hand, runs for the sideline, wide open, clear speed advantage there. So what can you do on the defensive line? What can you do for the defense? Can you get someone to the quarterback in this time frame? It's a quick throw. They kind of do. I mean, Hendrickson gives a little bump there. You would like some interior pressure to collapse the pocket quicker and not allow this play to get off, but we've seen this play before. How are teams attacking the Bengals? You remember this Ravens game, right? You remember that they go back to back on this. I believe we broke it down right away. They're going to try and hit Nelson Aguilar versus it's not Jalen Davis, it's not Mike Hilton, it's Chidobe Awuzie playing the slot. That should be someone we're very comfortable with. And so, it's not just a speed mismatch situation. And maybe Awuzie is still coming back. It's more of, can we keep this safety in the middle of the field for long enough? And this time it's Jordan Battle. Can we keep him in the middle of the field long enough to beat one-on-one coverage down the sideline? Because eyes here, I mean, you would think you could peel this guy off if you wanted to really, play a zone on it, but it looks like they're playing man coverage. So again, we're getting in the situation where the Bengals are running the same coverage and teams know about it and they take their shot. And this is just out of the range of Aguilar. Could have got a hand on it. I didn't like the angle that we got out of Jordan Battle here. If you watch it, watch Jordan Battle on this play and watch how deep he ends up. So he's going to go deep, deep, deep. I mean, at this point, Jackson's eyes are to the right. Battle's going to start going with him. And if you're going to get over there, look at the angle he ends up taking. I mean, are you going to help anyone if you're in the end zone? If anything, I would like that angle to be less like this and more like this. But you got to have speed. You got to have the range, the anticipation skills. I mean, Jesse Bates would have been all over that. So had he even gotten over there, he wouldn't have helped at all with the angle he took. So the Ravens come back to it later on this drive. Like right away. This is 3 or 4 plays later, week 2, and they hit the slot fade again against Chidobe Awuzie again. And we've got the same situation. We've got Battle in, because you remember Nick Scott had to leave the game with a concussion. And you've got man across 1, 2, 3, 4. And I even think we've got, that might be Hilton covering the running back. So man free across, and you're going to run slot fade with Nelson Aguilar one-on-one. Let's watch Aguilar's release this time, see if he gives anything. Yep. So it's again another jab. Try and get the quarterback or cornerback to open up his feet, open up his hips. And then if you can, it's this free release, speed release. So maybe you can come up and bump him. It's hard in the slot because the guy's off the line. As you can see, like people ask this question a lot. The line of scrimmage is right here. Who's on the line? Mark Andrews is, right? These guys are not on the line. They're not covering up the tight end. So it's hard to jam guys that are not on the line of scrimmage if the line of scrimmage is right here. So that's why you really can't do it there. Only thing you could really do is peel off that outside corner and play cover 3 on this. So again, they are trying to hook up here. He's coming to middle just in case you switch it to a middle of the field close. Jackson would go right to Mark Andrews. And so after the stagger step, you get that free release and you head to the front pylon. The only thing you could really do is if this was a true cover 3 defense and he's got middle of the field, he's got here, meaning this corner is going to retreat into this area and DJ Turner is going to retreat into that area. You may catch them. When they go to throw the slot fade. You'd have to peel off and try and make a play on it. And I want to say that Eli Apple had an interception against the Falcons with that concept, so they will switch to it. Yeah, that's Super Bowl footage. For the 80% of you that have not watched it and have not wanted to watch it, That is how Odell Beckham Jr. scored against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. So again, we got a similar situation. We're down in the red zone. We got man free, or at least it looks that way. The way these guys are off here, you could say it might be a cover 3 situation, but I would say based on their angles looking this way, I don't believe it. Now, if their angles were looking inside, more like this, they were angled that way pre-snap, I'd say, okay, yeah, they're in cover 3. So we'll see, because I don't remember actually on this play. I'm playing it live. I remember which plays they were. I cut them, and then I bring them over here to watch at the same time. So let's clear it as Odell Beckham Jr. is going to run this from the number 3 spot. So we've been watching so far this guy run it, right? But you don't have to run it with that guy. What they're going to do here instead is they're going to have these guys clear out and hopefully take the Bengals inside 2 defenders with them, and then they're going to run the number 3 on a slot fade. So a little bit different. Let's keep an eye on it and see how it plays out. Yep, man coverage on the outside. It was not cover 3. They ran with them, and they run the slot fade out of it. Did we get any pressure on the D-line? No, the Bengals only rush 3 here. So they drop out Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson and only rush 3, giving them a lot of time. So we're changing it up a little bit, but the coverage on the back half is still the same. And it's Mike Hilton versus Odell Beckham Jr. But why don't more teams run this is probably your question, right? Why don't we run this? Seems like an easy, simple concept. The Bengals run this a ton themselves. This is from week 1. And the Bengals are in a little bit further this time. They're at the 33-yard line, about that. And they're going to run a slot fade with T. Higgins in the slot versus a safety, Grant Delpit. And this is versus cover 2, or at least pre-snap 2 high shells. So we got a different look this time. And we're going to run the slot fade. You remember this play, right? This is the one that Grant Delpit breaks up right at the catch point. You get a little bit unlucky there. And there's Delpit breaking the pass off. I don't want to go too far yet. I want to come back to that play. So as I said, this was going to be 2 high shell. It wasn't. We're going to get a rotation here. We're going to get them switching up a little bit as this guy comes down, and he's going to rotate to a middle field closed defense, and it is going to be man coverage across. So good read by Burrow pre-snap to say, hey, I know what this is. I know what you guys are actually running. So watch those safeties rotate after the snap. Boom. Now middle field is closed. If you wanted these backside routes, whatever they may be, maybe a slant here, maybe a post here, but you end up with a slant underneath to get that defender out of there. This guy is now stuck to the middle of the field. So the boundary is open. And you have T. Higgins against the safety. And the game is a 1-score game at this point. And the protection looks good. I mean, you will take this. I will take this look every single time. And you'll see it on the next few plays here. You see Higgins is not beating this guy yet. You could argue that, hey, should we be throwing the back shoulder stuff here? But I'd say no. I'd say that Higgins ended up beating that guy downfield. It's just an unlucky play there as Delpit gets up and swats the ball right at the catch point. T. Higgins has scored on the slot fade. This is with Brandon Allen at. This is more like a wheel route almost. You'll see it. This is a much different look. I mean, you're still going to get the cover 1, but you're going to get a skinny post. It's more up here, skinny post. And you're going to get single high safety coverage. This is going to be off play action. So a little bit different from the quarterback to the wide receiver against the Texans. This is 2020. So when Burrow, after he gets hurt, watch Higgins kind of slow down his release as we've got, I mean, Texans are making this look like we're just going to cover 3 deep guys right here. And then what Higgins is going to do after I believe this is AJ Green. Hopefully he's going to carry these 2 guys with him and create some traffic and create some confusion there. We're going to have Higgins running to the sideline. And he scores on this. So this is something the Bengals have done, will do, and will get back to. Touchdown, T. Higgins. And oh, wait, they run it even more. We've got Tyler Boyd here on the slot fade this time. He's going to run out this way, and it's going to be single high safety again. So again, we ended up with a single high safety, especially as he started rotating this way. He couldn't flip his hips fast enough to get back over there. You've got right out of the slot here. It's like almost a speed fade. He's not trying to shake the guy, not trying to get his hips open or anything. He's going for it. And you're hooking up underneath to keep this boundary defender sitting right on this. And then you've got middle of the field open options just in case the Steelers run into anything. You're running these two guys to the middle of the field. And they're going to throw the back shoulder ball, let Tyler Boyd go up and dunk on his DB and make a play. Now we've got the Bengals-Falcons game last year. Same concept. Tyler Boyd, again, out of the slot. He's their slot guy. We'll run the slot fade. And again, it looks like we've got single high, middle of field closed defense. They love this. And when you're getting man coverage, single high, man free, let's run the slot fade. Watch Higgins down there. Back shoulder ball because he couldn't beat Boyd, I should say. I'm sorry. Watch Boyd down here. He's not going to beat the guy downfield. So Burrow's going to throw the back shoulder pass. Again, we're hooking up with Chase. We've got middle of the field open options. We even got a slot fade on this side. So this is out of empty. They got slot fades built into both sides with the option to go over the middle of the field with Hurst, that looks like, just in case. And he takes the Boyd option, throws it back shoulder. Boyd goes, makes a nice diving backside play. But have the Bengals been able to cover it on defense themselves? They have. This is the Jets game. Was this week 3 of last year? Yes, it had to be. This is their first win of the year. And we've got Chidobe Awuzie versus Elijah Moore, I want to say. Moore's going to run that. We've got what looks like man across. But this time the Bengals are showing 2 deep safeties. But we know better than that, don't we? One of these guys are going to come forward, and one of these guys are going to go back. And I'm assuming, based on just the quick leaning of their weight distribution, what are the quarterbacks looking at here? Oh, I forgot one guy here. Wilson's on the tight end. Looks like, and this is right at the snap, looks like we've got Bates coming up, Bell going back. Let's see how it plays out in real time. That's exactly what happened. Awuzie gets his head around, makes the play right at the end. So let's see what their backside options were here. Okay. So they got some switch releases up there. Wonder if we can even see green. Let's go with yellow. Looks like we're going to end up with bang, bang. Again, we got middle of the field open options, but the Bengals are running down Jesse Bates while bringing Bell into the free safety spot. Bates is here to pick off these guys, be a bit of a robber coverage. And the Jets are going to run, as we can imagine, something that hooks up here and then run the slot guy to the front pylon. Good job getting your head around, making a play on the ball by Awuzie. They have defended it in the past. And with that, we move on to the Seahawks game. And, I mean, let's see if they try to run the slot fade against the Bengals, or if the Bengals do this against the Seahawks, that would be fun. But the injury report so far for the Bengals looks really good compared to the Seahawks. Seahawks got a list of guys. No one really big, but, at least something to keep an eye on Friday. It's probably already out by the time you're watching this. But for the Bengals, we see T. Higgins practicing in a limited fashion. We'll see if he goes full for Friday. Chidobe Awuzie is back out there in pads. The only guy really missing on Thursday was Myles Murphy and Akeem Davis-Gaither. Davis-Gaither we knew would be out for a while, a few weeks, and we'll see what the status of he is. Maybe they hold him out one more week and get to the bye week. But Myles Murphy, we don't know what that is yet. Maybe it's just today, minor, and we'll see how it goes forward. But that's good. That's good news. The Bengals are pretty healthy going in this one, even though they've been dealing with injuries this season. I mean, with the Burrow thing, that's like counts towards like missing 15 guys, I would say, anytime you're missing your quarterback. But this game in particular, what could we expect to see? So far, the Bengals have beaten two defenses that like to do a lot of quarters defense. They had a lot of big shot plays out of that. That's how they got their one to Jamar Chase. We broke that down on Tuesday's episode. The Seahawks are not that type of defense. They're a cover 3 still at about 48% of the time, which means they're going to have middle of the field closed, and they're going to put one-on-one with their corners on the outside. Devin Witherspoon, who they drafted highly in the first round, appears to be the guy that may shadow Jamar Chase. We'll see how that goes. If the Bengals get him in the slot, how they work that. But we'll expect to see, very similarly to the Cleveland Browns in week 1, you may be sitting there on 3rd and 1 saying, why did they try that vertical shot on 3rd and short or 4th and short or whatever it may be? Just run the football. Well, it's based on what the defense is giving you there. If they're going to give you one-on-one shots, and we'll see if Higgins plays, but against Higgins and Jamar Chase, any defense, any week, you're going to take that and like your opportunities. And Bengals haven't been able to hit those yet. That may be the last infinity stone for Joe Burrow to look like he's back and ready to go. If he can hit these outside vertical shots with some consistency, it'll turn the tide for the Bengals. And I think defenses will play them a little bit differently. So that's about half the snaps you should expect to see that. And on defense for the Bengals, expect to see Mike Hilton got to go out there and play the run a little bit and go against tight ends, because the Seahawks, while they have 3 good receivers that can beat you, they will go out there in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, with extra blockers, and they will run the ball and run it with their 2 good running backs, Charbonnet and Walker, and just pound it down your throat until they hit the play action, hit the deep shots, and go from there. So can the Bengals stay home? Can they make tackles? Can they be consistent on the defensive side? They haven't been yet this year, but I like the Bengals to get back to 3-3. No setbacks for Joe Burrow. Let's get out of the bye week ready to take on the Niners and the Bills, which is the meat and potatoes of this schedule, to really see where they're at. So 3-3 after a 27-23 victory over the Seattle Seahawks at home at Paycor. I'm Joe Goodberry. This has been Bengals on the Brain, episode number 24. As always, the show is presented by First Star Logistics, my great partner that is giving away stuff, just trying to throw unique prizes and stuff you can't get anywhere else. So make sure you join in on that and get in on the fun and enter those contests. And we'll see you on Tuesday after we recap this game.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.